The final round of the Intelligent Money British GT Championship is about half an hour away from taking to the track here at Donington Park. The Donington Decider has become a thing over the last few years, and yet again an ultra-competitive championship is going to go down to the wire. Championships, in fact, because we have titles on the line outright in GT3 and in GT4 for the different spec of car, and then within there are classes for the Pro-Ams, the Silvers and the Silver-Ams also to be resolved over a 2-hour race, mandatory pit stop and driver changes. The track temperature a mere 12.1 degrees, but at least it's dry, and that is something of a novelty after the awful weather that we've had in the last couple of days. And it is fair to say that 2023's Intelligent Money British GT Championship has been, certainly thus far, a fantastic season.
This, ladies and gents, is it. After 8 races, 14 hours and 451 laps, the Intelligent Money British GT Championship boils down to Donington Decider. And as history tells us, absolutely anything could happen over the final 120 minutes. 2Cs wrapped up the GT3 Teams title at Brands Hatch, but everything else is still in play this weekend. That's GT3 overall, Pro-Am and Silver-Am, plus GT4 overall, Pro-Am, Silver and Teams. 4 drivers remain in GT3's overall championship battle. However, just 3 of them, James Cottingham, Darren Young and Dan Harper, are here this weekend. That's because ELMS commitments have prevented Johnny Adam from joining his regular 2Cs co-driver, Cottingham. They currently enjoy a 13-point advantage, but cannot possibly share the championship if Century's BMW finishes 5th or higher. That would force Cottingham to score further points and leave Adam stranded in 3rd. Regardless, pit stop compensation time is likely to prove a major factor. Leung and Harper have an extra 20 seconds for winning at Brands, while Cottingham, who's joined by Mercedes-AMG driver Philip Ellis, has plus 10. The overall champion is also likely, but not necessarily guaranteed, to top the Pro-Am standings. Cottingham and Adam currently lead those by 21.5 points. There's also GT3's Silver-Am class, where 3 crews remain in mathematical title contention. Sky Tempesters Kevin Zay and Chris Froggatt lead Barwell's Mark Sansom and Will Tregurtha by 9.5 points. That's less than the difference between finishing 1st and 2nd, while Ian Campbell and James Kell must hope both rivals non-score to have any chance. So that's the first half of the grid covered. Now for GT4, where 2 of these 12 drivers will be crowned overall champion on Sunday afternoon. Jack Brown and Charles Clark start as favourites, but things are seldom simple at Donington. Optimum's McLaren still enjoys a 10.5-point advantage, despite a rotten run of recent results that has helped Michael Johnston and Chris Selkeld close in over the second half of this year. Century's pairing look set to win the Pro-Am title, but have an extra 10 seconds of compensation time that will hamper their overall championship chances. Brands Hatch winners Eric Evans and Matt Cowley are 6 points further back, so, on paper at least, still have a chance. However, their maximum compensation time and Silver Cup handicap equates to 46 seconds extra in the pits. The final 3 contenders are also championship long shots, thanks to their considerable deficits. Racelab's Ian Goff and Tom Wrigley start 34 points behind, while Century's Carl Cavers and Lewis Plato and DTO's Josh Rowledge and Aston Miller are 36 adrift. This trio's task is simple: win and hope others have a nightmare afternoon. So there you have it. Season 31 is almost done and dusted. But who will be champions? Donington decides.
Much to look for on track, much to keep abreast of in the pits as well. And patrolling the pits for the 2 hours of the race when it gets underway is going to be Bryn Lucas. He's down on the grid at the moment. And Bryn, the tension is building, yes?
Very, very much so, David. You know what? There's a huge crowd here, which is always good to see at the Donington Decider. Greasy conditions on track. The weather is starting to get cloudy. It does feel very, very nervy, that kind of feeling that only the Donington Decider can bring. Something we're very much looking forward to. Now, this year is the 20th anniversary of the SRO being a part of the British GT. It's been quite some journey. Here's a quick look back.
If I have a dream, it's one day to see, maybe next year, maybe the year after, I would see 2 red Ferrari, 2 green Aston Martin and 2 yellow Lamborghinis would make the championship the biggest in the UK. So that is my goal and I hope I'll succeed.
Oh, and Tomlinson's made a mistake. Keach has got in front. inches ahead. The checker flag is out, and that means the Ferrari has won.
Both drivers drove the wheels off the car, and the car was fabulous.
Jonathan Cocker can wrap up the title in this race. It is a possibility, but will he work hard to stay in front of Nathan Kinch? Jonathan Cocker has done it. He is champion in the week that he turned 18 years old.
Absolutely fantastic. I'd just like to thank everybody at Group M, Kenny, all the engineers.
Ready for the final hour of the championship. Round 14 is about to get underway. Alex Mortimer then will come out of the final corner here at Rockingham and take the British GT Championship title.
It's been so hard, I can't tell you, in the last fortnight we've had the truck on fire and, everything has been going against us. All the guys have worked so hard, it's just overwhelming.
My first ever season racing. It's going to be a real tough one.
A drag race to the line, Nissan just, I think, from Aston Martin.
A finish like that has never been had in British GT.
Daniele Perfetti and Michael Caine win the 2012 British GT Championship.
Fantastic track, probably one of the best you could race at, but you don't want to go off.
To see the boy in the car there, you realise the gravity of this whole thing, This is far more nerve-wracking than going out on stage with Quo, I can tell you that.
The GT4 title goes to Ryan Ratcliffe and Rick Parfitt Jr.
Champagne now, isn't it?
Round one of the Avon Tyres British GT Championship for 2015, and perfect conditions at Alton Park. 16-year-old Jamie Chadwick and 18-year-old Ross Kahn, who claimed victory by over a lap in the Beechstein Aston Martin. The youngest championship pairing ever have claimed the title.
I've just had an awesome year. I've really enjoyed it. Obviously, the championship's been mega and absolutely over the moon, and yeah, delighted to get the win.
This car is actually McLaren's test car, so it's the one that does all the mileage. And we're like, can we borrow it? They said, well, yeah, as long as you wrap it, and we've got a lot of new parts on it and what have you.
It is round two of the British GT Championship. First ever Intelligent Money British GT Championship win goes to Martin Plowman and Calvin Fletcher.
The conditions are pretty tricky initially, but yeah, the car felt mega.
In GT4 land, though, it looks as though it's going to be a championship for SRO Motorsport. Richard Williams and Senan Fielding out of the last corner. What a drive that was from Senan in the second stint. Ian Logie is going to be a very, very popular British GT champion.
Congratulations, Ian Logie. You're the GT3 champion 2022. Well done. And just like that, 20 years goes in a flash. Well, I'm with the man himself, Stefan Rattel there. The vision, the dream to see two Lamborghini, two Ferrari here out on track. Well, here we are, 20 years on, 17 cars in GT3, 17 cars in GT4, and 7 different manufacturers. It's been an amazing journey to get to this stage.
20 years, time flies. We're still here. We don't have the 2 red Ferraris. The Lamborghinis are not yellow. But we do have a fantastic grid, and the championship has gone from strong to stronger year on year.
But globally as well.
Yeah, the GT racing, GT3, GT4 is a global phenomenon, of course. We as SRO promote 13 this year, 15 next year championships on 4 continents in 25, 26 different countries. So yeah, GT racing is big now.
It's great to see it going from strength to strength year on year as well. Let's have a quick look ahead though to 2024. We've got the Donington Decider right now, so we don't know what's going to happen at the end of 2023, but 2024 expecting bigger and even better if that's possible.
I think we usually reach full grid capacity. I think for next year looks like we have a request over capacity, so we're going to have to go into a selection process, which is never something easy to do, but that's a good proof of the championship success, which has been doing extremely well. I mean, we had a little dive after the financial crisis in 2008 and another one during COVID, but the championship always bounced back to where it is, to where it should be, and it's good.
The Donington Decider is about to get underway. Andrew Howard in the Aston Martin, Darren Lung in the BMW Go Racing, down towards turn one. The Intelligent Money British GT Championship final round is go, and it's Andrew Howard on the inside line, Darren Lung on the outside. He's just going to be able to get round on the outside and get his nose in front as they hit Hollywood. The BMW just outtracks the Aston Martin. He's got the outside for Hollywood as Darren is the inside line for the Crater Curve, and he's got the race lead.
Mega. Dan Harbour alluded to the strategy at the start, and Darren Lueng has executed it perfectly. Cotting down the inside there of his teammate. You can see him had to get on the brakes for an easy flat kick because Loggy was not going to give him the space. That team order is not going to be a thing. GT4, everyone's got through. You can see the Mustang there. Ramos down the inside of Ian Campbell. Looks like he'll get moved on as they come up to Coppice. But Darren Lueng has gone, hasn't he? He's already dropped Andrew Howard in that Aston Martin. This is his chance. Look at that as they come through into the second sector. I think he's already got a second, 0.2 or maybe. It's amazing. Good start.
Absolutely storming away, and he wants to be more than 10 seconds clear of Cottingham for the pit stops. There's a big dive up the inside from Sam Neary in the green Mercedes. Gets ahead of Mike Price's similar car coming in the S's. Right up behind them as well there, you've got the Barwell Lamborghini. As to the inside line looks Ian Loggy, the outgoing champion, #1 Mercedes. So he's third on the back of Andrew Howard. John Seal being roughed up a little bit, isn't he? There, number 25 in the Lamborghini. He's forced out wide as the cars now come up towards the end of lap one. But yeah, Darren Lung is away and gone. The race start is under investigation. Up towards the line comes James Cottingham. Darren Lung's gap at the end of lap one, 2.6 seconds. How about that?
Absolutely, Megan. My fear is we actually see the 93 Tempesta car, doing its drive through, getting out of the way early. My fear is Darren Lung wasn't quite over the grid box as that would have been mandated. He was a little bit too central for that. So I hope it's just going to be a look and actually decide there wasn't an advantage for it. But we're seeing such a topsy-turvy first lap as that 93 car holding at 50 k's, 18.6 seconds. That's just cost him. He's now got to get back off, past all the GT4 cars as well.
Safety car is being deployed, incidentally. The safety car has just been scrambled onto the circuit. So James Cottingham is going to have to either bank points here or fight a way through. But we are going to be seemingly under safety car conditions. And that's not good news for Darren Lung, because the lead that he pulled of 5.7 seconds is about to disappear. Safety car on track. Now, this is the reason for the safety car. Wow. Ian Duggan and also James Townsend are the two that have come together. So there's more than one car involved in that. We can see the amount of damage. That's been a big hit, Joe. That's massive.
Teammates, you see Ian on the right there in the blues. We get the replay. So they're only a tenth apart. James behind. It's absolutely brutal. They've just caught the end of the tyre barrier. Luckily, it looks worse than it is, and I mean that by the bodywork is shed everywhere. It's dissipating the energy really well.
So the green flag awaits, and Darren Lung comes into Goddard's then, ready to accelerate clear to get the race back underway. But it's been a late launch, if you like, but now he's racing. You can't overtake until you get to the control line, the timing line. That's where the green flag is waved, and the cars come through now, down towards Redgate then. So Darren Lung back on his toes, trying to build that lead. James Cottingham a little bit deep into Redgate then. He runs fourth and needs to be moving forward now to keep this championship lead, as we're on lap number 14 in this Donington Decider, the last round of the Intelligent Money British GT Championship. The green flag flies, we're back racing.
I slated down a little bit too hard there, didn't I? Still had 8/10 of a second over Howard as it crosses the line. So, sorry, mega job. I think we need to keep an eye on the car behind Cottingham that we're on board with. Morgan Tilbert coming back to championship, being super fast here, won many a race at Donington, and look at him there, and he's got nothing to lose. I think that could be a really interesting fight. Loggy on the defence from Cottingham. They're still getting held up a little bit by Howard. But that Aston Martin got great traction and good top speed. I think it's going to be quite hard for a move to happen anywhere but in this final sector where they're coming.
Ian Loggy on the lights to say to Andrew Howard, get out of the way. Well, good luck with that, because Andrew is quite entitled to hang on to that second place, and he's actually doing Darren Lung a favour, isn't he? Because he's the cork in the bottle at the moment. He's stacking up the Mercedes teammates, Ian Loggy and James Cottingham, and Cottingham is coming under attack from the McLaren behind him. Loggy to the inside of Howard, can't find a way through. Tilbrook on the inside of Cottingham, and he's done it. He's gone through for fourth place, and that was a bit robust.
Yeah, I thought I saw it coming. I spoke to Tilbrook earlier, and he had nothing to lose. Got down the inside, and you just place your car on the inside, and you ask the car on the outside, how much do you want to turn in on me? Oh, you got a championship to lose. I don't. I'm going to just give you a little nudge. I actually think Loggy might have just touched Howard as well in front of them. So it's getting feisty there as Neary goes down the inside of Ramos. Is it clean? Ramos gives him space. Neary runs him out. Job done. If if you're James Cottingham, this is your view. You're looking in your mirror seeing Richard Neary, one of the most aggressive GT drivers we've ever seen. I would want to be get on the front foot. So let's watch Tilbrook go down the inside. Little bit of contact. Yeah, big contact to be fair. Cottingham was coming back in for the apex. I don't actually think he'd even seen Tilbrook because the car just bounced off him. Neither of them will have much damage, I don't think, but that's definitely going to have shaken Cottingham up.
But he has responded in as much as he's pulling away again from Richard Neary. So James Cottingham can't afford to be losing places. He knows that there's a slightly shorter pit stop in the offing. Andrew Howard, in the meantime, still holding up Ian Logie, allowing Darren Lung to get away as they come down towards the S's. It's not really an overtaking opportunity unless you're terribly, terribly brave, and Ian Logie doesn't want to squander a place early in the race. So he has to sit behind Andrew Howard, who again goes defensive very, very early down to the Melbourne hairpin. Into the braking zone they come now. Logie to the outside line. Neary up the inside of Cottingham. Logie goes wide. So Tilbrook's going to go through on the inside and clear Logie. Neary's got ahead of Cottingham, who's dropping down the order.
Didn't see that coming. With Howard on the defence, I thought Logie was going to be able to sort of get a good exit, but he went too deep. Just locked again. Like the sister car, we're seeing that Mercedes just locking its brakes. Maybe he's got Jorgoon on, not particularly happy with that. Tilbrook's the man on the move. Neary with a great, great lunge. This is going the wrong way very quickly for Cottingham. Or in the meantime, we're not seeing is Darren Lewin pulling up 4.3 second lead. He's nearly back to where we were with that gap pre-safety car. Cottingham back on board. How does he look in the arms? He looks pretty relaxed, looks pretty chilled. But look at where he wanted to be in front of Andrew Howard. We now have 3 cars in between him and that car.
So Andrew Howard just hangs on a second. Morgan Tilbrook in the Kazoo McLaren behind him. To the outside line goes Ian Logie, and Andrew Howard's life is about to get even more difficult because there are back markers up the road. Out of Redgate, the race leader has cleared the traffic and is away up the road. So it's Andrew Howard second, Tilbrook third, Logie fourth. 5th is Neary, 6th is Cottingham, and through the traffic they come. BMW of Carl Cavers up the road. Howard goes for the inside, gets up the curve, he's delayed, and here comes Tilbrook. He's got the momentum, he's got the run, he's almost alongside. They hide behind the graphic. Side by side behind, Logie gets stuck behind the BMW. He goes one side. Through he goes, he's ahead of the McLaren. Morgan Tilbrook drops back a place. Wide is Andrew Howard at McLean's. Ian Logie, great bit of driving. He read that perfectly. He got the move done. It was Morgan Tilbrook who was hung out to dry. Andrew Howard is still second somehow, but now he's got Logie crawling over the back of him. Side by side they run, they almost touch. I think they did touch as they come down towards the S's. Howard on the inside, brakes late. He's got the BMW ahead of him. He just goes through and stays ahead of Logie. Then Andrew Howard goes wide. Logie to the inside, Tilbrook to the inside of the pair of them. Take a big, deep breath. It's 3 wide into the Melbourne hairpin. Logie up the inside is hit by Tilbrook, but he hangs on to the slide. Howard on the outside. Logie goes through. You've also got Ramos making ground in the background. He is ahead of Cottingham now.
You're good with the names. I can't even watch this, what's going on. Cottingham has lost that place to Ramos. Tilbrook trying to get down the inside of that GT4 BMW is hard work. That was one of the best laps I've seen from Logie in a long time of any racing. Great, great driving. He chose the right lane to get past Tilbrook round there. Like when you go to the airport, you think you've got the right security queue, and then in front of you, there's a baby in a pushchair, and it all goes wrong. There's loads of liquids, and suddenly you're the loser. That was Morgan Tilbrook. Here Logie swept round, only hand luggage, and got through into the lead. But Mark Radcliffe here now, bit of touch with Selkin in that GT4 BMW that we go on board with. He's on the back of Cottingham. Cottingham cannot catch a break right now.
Look at the gap, nobody in sight. At length of the pit straight as the BMW M4 goes onto the top of the crane of curves and wait and wait and wait, and eventually Ian Logie will come through 16 seconds back, and that is Mike Price's Mercedes. You can see what's happened to it. Don't need me to tell you that he has a very limited view, and he's going to have to head for the pit lane. It's more than just the bonnet opening. That's done quite a lot of damage, and I think that's the reason for the damage, because 42 of Ian Campbell is in the gravel at the old hairpin. Might this be another interruption, do you think, which would be really, really bad news for the leader?
Yeah, it's gonna. I think it's got to be a safety car. Price must have rear-ended, actually in the side, wasn't it? Really late on the brakes. Does well himself, but Ian Campbell, I think, must have suspension damage the way he just carried on straight. I don't think the Greystone guys are going to be able to get this car fixed. Even if you got the bonnet down, I think there's too much damage, and that's a shame. We saw that car going so well. Greystone guys already with the tank tape plasters, but There's a headlight disappeared somewhere. They're looking at it. They obviously need to make sure it's safe. I think that's the wheel arch liner even coming out there. But that's a shame because that car was so competitive at Brands Hatch.
I love the way that when you're trying to get the car back into the race, suddenly you realise how little of this you actually need. You know, Mercedes put these things on the car for a reason. Don't need that, throw that away, tape on that, get it back out, it'll do.
And you saw how light all the parts are. They're all carbon fibres. They're all probably a couple of grand. Ron Johnson on the grass. Where's that? Maybe on the exit of Coppice on the back straight. Definitely stuck. And we see John Seal now in the wall on the old hairpin. I think this has got to be a safety car now.
There's too many cars on there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One was okay. 2 or 3 now. So what have we got? John Seal by himself, middle of crane. His car just goes straight. I don't know if that's a car failure, but that is so scary. When you think how long he's been crashing for and then how hard he still hits the barriers. That was a 300-metre crash that he carried on for and still hit the barriers doing 50, 60 kilometres an hour at least. I don't know what the failure could have been, but that didn't look particularly enjoyable for a 74-year-old gentleman.
Safety car deployed, as expected.
Gutted. As we see the R Racing GT4 leader, Pitt, making sure that he didn't overtake the GT3 car before he crossed the line. Did a really, really good job there, Miller. That was an easy mistake to do. DTO in, Academy in, Parker in, Optimum in, they're all in. So this is now a pit lane race, and we've got to factor in now their compensation times that they inherited from Brands Hatch.
And whether they are a silver or not, because that will elongate the pit stop. Of course you would come in now under a safety car because you're losing less time than you would under green flag conditions. And this, again, is actually quite good news for the GT3 teams because it gets all the GT4 stops out of the way before they are due in. So the pit lane should be clearer, but others are trying to find somewhere to park.
I think Kavi Jundu there in the paddock, McLaren that's leaving, has missed his box.
Right.
He's having to go all the way through the pit lane. You can see him leaving there on that onboard. You can see all the tyres, changing the tyres, all going for new tyres. See that McLaren with its fuel pipe just holding on it there. The teams will be talking to the drivers over the radio, just letting them know how long they've got.
Safety car in this lap. Safety car in this lap.
So now, as the GT4 field gets ready to leave, we've got one car that's going to stay out. It's Morgan Tilbrook. He will inherit the race lead. But now you've got virtually everybody in the pit lane. Some are about to go. Some are coming in. Ian Loggy finds a parking space. Others might not be so fortunate.
Luckily, the safety car's reversing out the way there. 2Cs are safe at the moment. That Ginetta should move, but that's just been blocked in by Neary. DTO get released really well. They were scared they were going to get blocked in by all of this. Another Ginetta blocking the 2Cs in. I'd like to see the end of the pit lane. The Century BMW has had to go in at 45. The team is skating it round. They've got plenty of time. Dan saying, well done, enough time to give a handshake. How are these GT4s leaving? What order? The Academy cars are still together. The Century Mercedes BMW, has jumped up the order. The leading GT4 is now back because of that extra 15 seconds. Darren Burke and then Michael Wardhurst in the Mercedes respectively after. And this is straight back to green, so hopefully the drivers have been told the safety car has finished, because last time those GT4 drivers saw the screen, it was a safety car. So there will be a green light, but there's always a green light.
But now, of course, it's a different driver in the car, so they just have to push. Sam Neary in number 8, trying to find a way of being able to get back out from the rather crowded pit lane. Dan Harper, once the car has been refueled, will be allowed on board. The car has to be empty while the refueling goes on, and Dan and Darren say to one another either well done or good luck. Once the fueling is done, in will leap Dan Harper. The point Joe was making about no rush for them is because they have this extra 20 seconds to serve. These two cars, 1 and 2, Morgan Tilbrook, John Ferguson, they have yet to pit. They'll be in this time. Dan Harper then gets into the car that did lead the way. Darren Lung will help strap him in. And then at the end of the next couple of laps, once all the pit stops have cycled through, we'll have a proper look at the race order. Now, here comes Jules Gounon. That car, number 1, is going to inherit the race lead. In is coming John Ferguson behind. And so Dan Harper is going to drop down the queue. What might save him here is that others behind get boxed in the traffic and lose the odd second or two. Right, the BMW drops down, but second is going to be number 67. Up to third is going to be 88 McLaren. There goes Philip Ellis. Dan Harper being held. Go, go, go. No, not go, go, go. Ball drops again.
The car controller tried to give him a space. Looked like Harper wasn't quite ready for the launch, if I'm being brutally honest. I was also worried about the Optimum car that's just left in front. The passenger door of that car was open, and they have lost a lot of time. You think when the other GT4 cars have left, something has gone on with that car. I think they're at the championship. I can't see them being able to recover it.
Now this is significant because there's a Ginetta stranded on track. Now, Peter Daly will probably give that about 30 seconds to see if they can sort of cycle the car back into life, but he can't leave it there indefinitely because it's in a dangerous place, so he's going to give it time. There'll be a yellow flag. That'll be relayed in the cars as well, but that is a bit heart in mouth, and if it doesn't move soon, he's going to have to go safety car again, isn't he? Let's see, because you've got battles going on. Yeah, they are, absolutely.
I was really worried. Harper there was really tucked in behind the car in front, and in a left-hand drive car, that would be exactly in your blind spot of your pillar there, so that's got to be a safety car. Like you said, if that's not gone in the next 5 seconds, who's that going to help? That is going to help Harper for sure. He's not going to help with his track position. Marvin Kirchhofer hustling that Optimum GT3 McLaren now. He's behind, he's got nothing to lose. What's Philip Ellis going to do here?
Well, also, what is Johnny Edgar in 88 going to do? And I think the race leader is going to become now 78. No, Sean Balf's in the pits. It's going to be 67, isn't it? Michael O'Brien, as the battles continue through the traffic they come. And we are going to go safety car. Safety car again. That Ginetta has not got going. So the safety car is deployed once more.
All of the guys pitting now aren't being held up. So the Barwell car has got an advantage if those cars had slowed down. I don't know how long he's got left for his pit stop, but if he should only have the 5-6 seconds remaining, he should be able to slot into 3rd place as Sandy Mitchell leaves. That car is the biggest benefactor of this safety car, because none of those cars, Rafael Marcello, could not overtake that GT4 Ginetta. So there's been a real topsy-turvy, quick move around, hasn't it? That safety car has come at a very interesting point.
So we've got 48 minutes. We're about to go racing. This is going to be dramatic.
Yeah, Gounon goes early. Big slide there.
Off.
But Clutton, he has to overtake. I was about to say can't overtake. I correct myself because I was wrong with that. Gounon's gone off. Clutton can't do anything. He has to. I've never seen anything like that. We saw Logie have similar issues under braking. He has a wry smile. I don't think he actually understands that one of the world's best GT drivers has gone off before we even got to the green flag. Sandy Mitchell with a big old slide out there, right on the back of Clutton. Clutton not defending, so he's obviously happy he's got the brake performance. I say that, and he cuts across the front of Mitchell just at the last moment to get that Marcello looming in the background. 3 different cars. That Lamborghini's been so quick enough to drive on the grass to show his intent. I love when these drivers get in. Marcus Clutton, super aggressive in and out the car. Sandy Mitchell, however, so quiet, so young, but look at that run he's going to have on the inside. I think this is going to be a big battle. Is Clutton going to lift? No, he won't. Is Mitchell going to hang around the outside? Yes, he will. And then it comes to Mitchell. That should be job done. He just needs to ease Clutton out the way, which he does well. As we look at the 29 car of Tom
Wrigley.
Yeah, Tom Wrigley, and he's on his last warning for track limits, but he's the leader of GT4.
But that gap is coming down, look, because Tom Wrigley being caught by Josh Rowledge, 0.8 of a second between those two as they come over the line. 3rd in GT4, Lewis Plato in number 22 BMW. Touring car fans know, no relation to Jason. And there, number 62 Mustang up the inside. That's Matt Nicol-Jones going ahead of Chris Solkeld, who is still heading for the championship, but only just. He's just lost another place. So now that he's dropped back behind the Mustang, that I think is going to throw the advantage back the way of number 90. So the graphic was right when it came onto your screen. It was wrong by the end because the Mustang going ahead of the BMW changes things again.
I'm amazed at the lack of pace that BMW's got. We saw how strong it's been, but the Mustangs are all over it. And like I said, I thought the Optimum car was out of it because that car's been
penalty, overtaking car 88 under yellow flag. Car 4, drive-through.
So Philip Ellis, a drive-through penalty. The championship leading car, drive-through for overtaking 88 under the waved yellow flags. Go on.
I think Johnny Adams paid for that. I think that takes him out the points, and they're still going to win the championship as a collective. I think.
Let's have a look and see what exactly happened. So we're behind the yellow flag situation. Yellow flags on the side of the road. Everybody slows, and 88 does not. goes through, gains places under yellow flags, and that's James Cottingham being given the news.
It looks bad. Yes, there's yellow flag. Yes, he's overtaken. But he was just probably level with the car that was the incident. And it's just such a... He didn't wait for the green flag, so he's anticipated. The problem is there. I'm past the problem. I should be able to overtake. He just was a bit impatient waiting for that green flag to continue on his progress. As we see Harper right on the back of him. I don't think there's going to be much fight here. Shouldn't really look to hold him up. He's obviously knowing he's going to box soon, so he's just trying to back Harper away to just mitigate any chance of it.
Right, here we go. 91 BMW then, on the back of number 4 Mercedes. So Dan Harper is on the attack. The drive-through has been given for number 4 Mercedes. Is Philip Ellis going to come in this time? He's got 3 passings of the timing line after the penalty's issued. He's not come in. That's his first.
Maybe just because I'm a horrible person, but if I was Dan Harper, I'd be looking for a cutback out of every time out of the last corner to stop him being able to get into the pit lane. You imagine he gets to the inside of Ellis and he can't come into the pits. If he can do that, that'd be amazing. Ellis is given a robust fight here. There's a long way round, so my dream of him being a horrible man dies on that one, but he's got a pit in the next 2 laps.
As indeed. So Dan Harper clears number 4 Mercedes, now starts to pull away. As far as the championship is concerned, what we now need to see is where the Mercedes is going to be after it has served that drive-through, because until we know where that car is in relation to the BMW, we can't really start applying points, because at the moment the BMW is ahead by 1 spot, but the BMW crew feeling a lot more confident right now.
Yeah, I still just don't see them getting up to 5th. That Mercedes is going to be nowhere. 20 seconds with the drive-through that he's going to lose. He's going to be last, maybe just behind one of the GT4 cars if they haven't lost too much time on this lap. So now it is all on Harper, currently 9th overall. 4 more places to go. Looks like he's got Edgar in his sights. Looks like he might have Ross Gunn, but then it starts to get a little harder.
Right, James Cottingham, if we can get the bleep machine ready, Bryn might be able to offer his thoughts.
Yeah, I've already prepped him for that one there. The bleep machine is on standby for sure. So James is here watching on at the moment as his teammate comes into the pits here, and the drive-through is happening at this moment. James, you said to me just off camera that you didn't see the yellows.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I actually didn't see the onboard just then, but I heard what the guys were saying. But I just came out of Coppice onto the back straight, and there was action, drama. You know, McLaren nearly hitting the back of a Mustang that was almost stationary, and I went round the left, and then I saw obviously the car on the grass and a green flag ahead. So I thought to myself, there could have been a yellow there that I haven't seen because of the action. And yeah, look, an honest mistake. And had it have not been for the safety car, I would have dropped back and done whatever if I'd known that there was a yellow flag, but I didn't know. So just really bad luck. And looking at the way the BMW is going, they've got to have some really bad luck because it's just so fast. So unfortunately, all I can do is cross my fingers now.
35 minutes, they've got to gain 4 positions, I think. Best of luck to you, James.
Thank you.
To the inside line then goes the BMW, goes through, does he? Yes, that sorts out the Aston. Wow. So he's got himself up past Ross Gunn, and he's right there on the back also of number 11, Martin Plowman, who is trying to work his way through the traffic. While all that's going on, by the way, the BMW number 14 of Chris Solkeld is dropping in GT4. Harper's going to get through on the inside. That's it, 2 of the 3 places done in quick succession. Fantastic dive.
He's going to win the championship. I've changed my mind completely. That was a move that we saw him do at Silverstone into Brooklands. He just sends the car while the driver in front hasn't even thought the overtake is on, and he's just done. It is such a refreshing driving style we're seeing from Dan Harper. He's so aggressive, but so calculated in equal measures. I generally haven't seen a driver like him with these sort of overtakes so often and so cleanly. 1 more car and he is the championship leader. That car is the orange car in front of Mikey O'Brien, and he has been catching it at an alarming rate of knots.
Right now, Dan Harper and Darren Lung are sitting on 161 points. James Cottingham is sitting on 162. 1 more place gain for Dan Harper. It's job done. Ross Gunn right on the back of Martin Plowman. They're having their own battle. It's for race and place, never mind for the championship. And look, GT4 lead is about to change. Josh Rowledge up the inside in the background. So the 2 McLarens absolutely side by side. Dan Harper gets up the inside of Michael O'Brien. He's going to go through. Is he Cowley on the inside, not quite. It's going to be the outside line up towards Goddard's. Behind them, the GT4 race lead is set to change. You can see the two McLarens are nose to tail. Dan Harper diving into Goddard's, wasn't quite able to level with Michael O'Brien there. 29 of Tom Wrigley is sideways. He goes out wide. Over the timing line have gone the race leaders. Dan Harper there, look on the inside line into Redgate. He's going to go through on the inside. That's enough to win the championship. He's gone through. He's ahead of O'Brien now. That puts him 5th. Now, Dan Harper has not done yet. Never mind, Jules Gounon, that you are a GT World Challenge Endurance Champion. I am right behind you, looking for a way through, and Dan Harper, look, going one way and then the other under braking. Jules Gounon defending well. But again, that Mercedes just not looking as fleet of foot as the BMW that is on an absolute mission. I mean, Dan Harper, we were wondering how far up the order he could get. He's cleared the traffic he needed to. He's caught the next gaggle of cars and he's up the inside and another place gained into the unhappy.
12,
fantastic
final track
drive.
limit warning in the race, black and white flag. Car 67, final track limit warning in the race, black and white flag.
Ian Goff and Tom Wrigley then leading GT4 in the race and provisionally ahead in the championship as well. Now for a Pro-Am combination to win it, well, we were talking about the BMW drivers earlier, but it could be a McLaren Pro-Am combo that does it. It's all rather dependent though on whether or not Tom Wrigley here keeps Josh Rowledge at bay until the end, and 25 minutes, nearly 26 minutes remain. Here's Harper, he's now up with Raffaele Marciello, who is another Mercedes factory driver. Dan Harper is a BMW factory driver. Now look how Harper's pulled away from Gounon. That BMW is absolutely flying. He lines up for a go on the inside to the S's, can't get through that. Flash of the lights to try to distract Marciello. Good luck with that. But the exit of the S's is such that now Demon Dan thinks about the inside line down towards the Melbourne hairpin. There's the gap, there's the move, there's the place. Job done. Darren Luke can't believe it.
Cowley now on the inside of Rowledge, getting the job done. And I think he's got enough pace to even just completely clear Wrigley. I think Rowledge's done a good job there being a rear gunner for Wrigley, but I don't think it's going to actually make a difference in the end. This Mustang has just got mega pace.
And this is going to be the GT4 championship winning car, seemingly. So Eric Evans and Matt Cowley will be on 130.5 points now as they come up towards the line, that putting them ahead of Goff and Wrigley. In the meantime, Sandy Mitchell, the overall race leader, is on 2 track limit warnings. Marcus Klassen here is on 3, and Dan Harper is only on 1, despite all the overtaking and all the energy he's had to put in. So in that respect, he's done an exemplary job. You know, there are some races that stick in your mind as the one race that somebody really stood out in their career. For Dan Harper, this has got to be it. For Darren Luke, this has got to be it. The absolutely perfect drive from both thus far, to win a championship. Now, for second place, nose to tail, down through the Craner curves. And as Joe has made the point, Dan Harper doesn't need to do anything else. He just needs to sit there and gain the points. But the racer in him means he's still pushing.
Yeah, you never know what could happen behind. Ellis could get given a load of places. So this is now the Mustang for the championship. Is he going to get down the inside and try and go tight into the chicane, make Wrigley get a bad run? You can see Wrigley look over into his right mirror. Look at the power that Mustang's going to outdrag and completely clear him. That is American muscle for you right there. Mega move, and he's going to go. And I think he's just going to disappear as we see a very, very happy-looking teammate there of Eric Evans.
Absolutely right. Sandy Mitchell is looking at a second victory of the season in the Intelligent Money British GT Championship. He and Sean Balfe won at Snetterton in one of the 2 1-hour races, and they are about to win the 2-hour Donington Decider. The car ahead is set to win in GT4. That will go on to its last lap as the last round of the Intelligent Money British GT Championship is won by Sandy Mitchell and Sean Balfe. The British GT Championship, though, the title goes to Darren Lung and Dan Harper after the most amazing race. 2 brilliant stints, and a delighted Darren Lung celebrates a championship. He richly deserves that. So too does Dan Harper. Both of them drove outstandingly in that race. Third, Marcus Klassen and Morgan Tilbrook, Raffaele Marciello and John Ferguson. 4th, Jules Gounon and Ian Loggy, the outgoing champion. 5th, Andrew Howard and Ross Gunn take 6th. It's going to be a long wait for their GT4 race-winning car. A race win in the Donington Decider. The GT4 champions for Academy Motorsport. Matt Cowley, Eric Evans. Across the line comes Matt Cowley. That's the reaction. delight in the garage. Great to see. And Eric Evans, now the emotion hits home, but what a richly deserved championship. The young American driver, he spent a whole season with a different culture, new places, new circuits, everything new. And now you can see how much it means.
I think he's just realised his celebration dinner's in Nottingham. We'd rather it somewhere nice, but that's amazing.
Race winners of the Donington Decider, Sandy Mitchell and Sean Balfe. Second, the champions, Dan Harper and Darren Lung. Third, Marcus Clatton and Morgan Tilbrook. After that, there was John Ferguson and Raffaele Marciello ahead of Ian Logie and Jules Gounon. And James Cottingham waved goodbye to the championship 10th with Philip Ellis.
Dan, well, that was a heck of a race, really. It came to you, it went from you, it came to you, it went from you. Darren put in an amazing stint as well. I'm sure he'll be here in a minute. He's been leaping all over the place for the past hour or so. But for yourself, you had all the work to do, and my word, you did it.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say. I'm just so proud for Darren. That stint he put in. I said before getting into the car that I've never seen a stint like that. And yeah, I thought I had a small feeling inside that it was still possible and anything is possible. But it was like when you see a 16-second lead go with like 9 minutes to go before the pit stop, I was like, oh no. But wow, I mean, I can't believe it. I'm so happy.
What a race. What a couple of days you've had here.
I told you it was going to be a bit of a casino, didn't I? God, I'm just really out of breath from the whole thing, to be honest. The team just did an unbelievable job all season, and this guy here, just to even just make this remotely plausible, never mind actually doing it, it's just all testament to everything that those guys have done.
Matt Cowley and Eric Evans, how about that? I apologise to you both, really, because I didn't look at you two as championship contenders at the start of this one, and more fool me.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we were the long shots coming into it, but Ford has always given us a great car. Academy have done a fantastic job. Multimatic with their support as always has helped us. And I mean, we were flying in that race. We had a 20-second penalty in the pit stops, and I managed to pull the whole way back through the pack to win the race, which is what we needed to do. And a bit of luck went our way. And yeah, we're champions, and can't believe it.
For yourself, Eric, I was there with you when we saw Matt overtake enough to get you into that #1 position in the championships. Talk us through the emotion that you were going through in that last half hour.
Well, I can tell you I have no fingernails left. I mean, I was just pacing back and forth. I was just hoping that, one, that he stopped getting track limits, and two, that we crossed the line, and because that's all that mattered for that. So, but once we got to the lead, I mean, I was just, I couldn't contain myself. I was walking back and forth, sitting down. I couldn't control myself.
So the Donington Decider, well, next year it's going to be a Brands Hatch Decider for the last round of the British GT Championship, but it has lived up to expectations here. These are the champions then, Eric Evans and Matt Cowley from Jack Brown and Charles Clark, and then third, Ian Goff and Tom Wrigley. Michael Johnston and Chris Solkel dropping to fourth ahead of Josh Rowdidge and Aston Miller. Carl Cavers and Lewis Plato, they've had a pretty tough season, but salvage 6th place. Sandy, Lamborghini factory driver, flanked by BMW factory driver Dan Harper, who now stands there as a British GT champion. And Stefan Rattel comes forward with the garlands that go to the champions, to Dan Harper and Darren Lung. The 2023 Intelligent Money British GT champions for SRO Motorsport, Darren Lung and Dan Harper. Let's have a look at how the championship looks in the end. Darren Lung, Dan Harper, joint champions. James Cottingham, second. And in the end, just a 1.5 points up on the man that he shared the bulk of the season with, Johnny Adam. Sean Balfe and Sandy Mitchell's win put them fourth ahead of Ian Logie. Jules Gounon hasn't done every round, so he drops to sixth ahead of John Ferguson and Raffaele Marciello. Then Andrew Howard and Ross Gunn ahead of Mark Radcliffe, and then Rob Bell. To the champions go the garlands from Stefan Rattel and Eric Evans. You saw the emotion that was on his face. No doubt Matt Cowley felt it inside the car as well. But a fantastic job done by them all season.
You can see why Stefan was asking if I had any spare spinach left from my salad this morning. He's obviously made those reefs really well, hasn't he?
The champagne about to be sprayed by the GT4 race winners and the GT4 champions, Eric Evans and Matt Cowley.